What's up, ladies and gents? This is Mike Headley, host of the Headley Group Real Estate Show. The podcast was designed to show business professionals who happens to have a license to sell real estate how you can make money outside of just selling a piece of property. We are talking to entrepreneurs that's making things happen. Continue to tune in. Hey gang, this is Mike Headley. We are back. Another great episode on the Headley Group Real Estate Show. We have a young lady here. And again, one thing about our show, we keep it real. I was down at the 5-Star Conference in Dallas, Texas, and I saw her, and she was, I saw her just standing there in terms of marketing her business. So I said, what exactly do you do? That's what conference is about. We always got to be networking, which is our net worth ultimately. And she says, I deal with title. So we want to give a warm welcome to Miss Tomi Moore. She's the VP of Business Development for MPR Title in the Dallas area. How you doing, ma'am? Let's give a round of applause.
Thank you so much. I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh man, I'm doing awesome. Listen, the title work, again, I'm a real estate professional, and our show is designed for real estate professionals to show them how they can get knowledge and make an income without just selling a piece of property.
Right.
And we feel as though any way a piece of knowledge or insight can be beneficial for them and their clients, that's the ultimate goal.
Okay.
Title work. Okay, let the people know, because here, some states they use an attorney, but some places there's title that actually closes the property. Let people know about that. What is that? What is title work?
Yes, absolutely. Well, again, thank you. So Texas is not an attorney state, so we don't have to have an attorney to close transactions.
Okay.
But with MPR Title, the owner actually is an attorney, which is an actual benefit because she can understand statutes, some of the most complex statutes. But with title, in order to, if there's a cloud on the title, if there's an issue with the title based on the property that, let's say, the home buyer is going to buy, meaning there may be a lien, an encumbrance on the property, that will cloud the title and pretty much delay the progress of the sale of the property.
Now, sometimes you got to talk to the people in the back. Tommy, a cloud on the title. What exactly is a cloud on the title? And what exactly, we're going to take it basic. What is it?
Okay. There's some issues with that title. Okay. All right. So I'm going to take it back to Longview, Texas, where I'm from.
Okay.
My grandmother passed away without a will. Her husband that had passed before her had, let's say, outside children that no one knew about. Now that our family is trying to close on this property, now, when the title work is being done, now they're finding maybe a lien that whether it's grandfather had took out on the property, which means he took out a loan on the property, even a relative that we didn't know anything about. Now they're entitled to a stake or interest in the property. So now the title is clouded. It's a clouded title, and we can't close as smoothly as we thought we should be able to close.
That's interesting there. Because again, I think a lot of us, particularly African Americans, I think we're first, second generation far as getting a property.
Right.
We don't know exactly what to do with that. When you mentioned, is there a way that we can avoid that? Is there a way that a person cannot, like I said, basically not have a cloud on the title issue? What's some preventive ways to deal with that?
Sure, and that's a really good question. It's really just having your affairs in order. We notice it a lot in, rich communities. I mean, whether they have a will, they write everything down so you can see it. Well, I noticed in a lot of African American communities, like, it's so hush hush. They don't want anybody in their business, and they're hiding things. They don't want you to even know that they own the house. They'll tell you that they rented the house their entire lives when they actually owned it. So just making sure that the affairs are in order. Like when I say we see it all the time. We see it all the time, and we get calls, hypothetical scenarios, and we're like, no, that's not hypothetical. That's actually the issue that's going on.
And NPR title there, like, so you're just solely based in Texas. I'm quite sure is the goal to be national, or what is the goal with that?
Yes, that's definitely our goal. Our founder and CEO, Jerry London, she started a title company 4 years ago, which was an absolutely brave move because this is a white man.
Go ahead and tell the way it is.
I just say
Keep it real. That's what they do on our show. Yeah.
And I mean, I've attended conferences, and when I say I'm entitled, they look at me like, "So what are you, an escrow officer?" I'm like, "No, I'm in business development." And they're like, "Oh, you are?" And like, "Well, you really know a lot to be entitled." Like, "No, I'm Black and I'm entitled." And in Texas, I mean, it's a large state, but MPR Title is the only minority woman attorney-owned title company in the entire state. Yeah, we have plans to go national. Obviously, state by state.
Exactly.
Each state has their own laws and requirements, but that is definitely the goal.
So you mentioned this now. You said again they give it a second look. So there's a lot of fighting. Again, don't really know too much about that side of it. Again, just because we know attorney state here. So is it really that bad, huh?
It can be, and especially a lot of things that were revealed, especially with this, this economy, with a lot of the investors trying to buy, quick flip and fixes, and they're buying distressed properties, but then they're learning that there was some issues with the title. We recently dealt with a file that some investors bought the property. It was a husband and wife. Both of them were deceased. The husband didn't have children. He had remarried, and they didn't have children together. And we had the witnesses, which were their next door neighbors, for as long as they lived in the property. They were able to execute an affidavit stating like, no, they never had any children, no relatives ever came over. But this particular file went to 5 title offices until it got to us, and we had to figure out like, well, what was going on? Well, the first wife had, she passed away many years ago, which allowed us to be able to move forward with the transaction. But it's not uncommon, but we witnessed it a lot more during this market this season.
You mentioned affidavit, which is, I guess, is that the go-to when people want to kind of get something done quickly?
No, I'm not an attorney.
I got you.
But yes, that seems to be the go-to. It's like, well, we'll get a witness to say, obviously because you're swearing that, the information that you're providing is true, the best of your knowledge. And so affidavits are put in place so you can go ahead and move on with the closing or the execution of documents.
And by doing title work, typically, I know in some states, again, I want to speak for you all, how far do you go back? 30 years, 20 years, 40 years? Far as the attorney.
That's for an attorney.
That's an attorney. Gotcha. Okay. He said, "Stop putting me on the spot."
I know, right? That's an attorney question. But what I have, because I am in business development, and people do ask me questions. Like I've had like a friend of mine in Houston. They rebuild like distressed property.
Gotcha.
And so they have bought a property that was subject to a tax lien from the Harris County, which is Houston.
Okay. Correct.
And when he went to buy it, it seems like everything was good. And then when they went to get a loan on the property to rebuild on it, now these folks are coming back who have an interest in the party saying, no, this is, Big Mama's land. And if you want me to sign something, you got to pay me $5,000. And but what them, they needed, there's like a cooling off period, and which that may be the wrong word because again, I'm not an attorney, but it's like 2 years that they are entitled to come back to tell them that they have a stake in that property. There are some tax lien properties that it's been like 10 years. If it's been 10 years, they haven't come back to say anything, then we just move forward with it because it's reached the statute of limitations.
That's interesting. And here, like I said, I'm in North Carolina. I had a client of mine who brought a piece of property at the courthouse steps. I think he paid $16,000 for it. Did not hire a title company attorney to do his title work. He went to go flip it to the actual neighbor. He said when he walked inside of the office, the attorney and the buyer was laughing, right?
Yeah.
So he was wondering, well, what are they laughing at? He had the property under contract for $34,000. He said, okay, I'm gonna make just double my money. Got 16.5 for that the courthouse steps. Once the attorney told him, he said, there's all kinds of liens and judgments on this property, and it totaled $17,000. So in order to move with this sale, you got to come out of pocket, I think, about $1,000. And again, my point is saying he didn't do his title work. So people, make sure you hire the great people to do your work, right? Because you never know what you can run into. And I had to share that story. Right?
Yes, absolutely. Because you would think that it's not uncommon, right? Like, oh, it makes sense to get title insurance. Would you buy a car and not get car insurance?
Great point.
You have to make sure you have insurance in place just in case things like this happen. And then that insurance will cover all of that. I've had, especially the folks that are like the ones who for sale by owner, they don't want to use anything. They don't want a title. They don't want to use a realtor.
Interesting.
It's like, no, it's clear. This house has been in my family for years, and we don't need title.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah.
Are you looking for a real estate brokerage to help you buy or sell your property? The Headley Group Realty is here to assist you with that process. We also hire brokers to join us and give them the best training and mentorship, leading to a great office atmosphere and an attractive commission structure. Our goal is to show homeownership at the highest professional level and empower the real estate business. If you're interested in buying or selling your property, visit www.theheadleygroup.com or call us at 336-904-6212.
And anybody, I guess, mechanic liens can come into place too. Somebody do some work on the property, right? That happens quite frequently.
Yeah. I've seen it when. So my background is mortgage servicing. I worked for Bank of America back at the fall of the economy back in 2010-11. And oftentimes when I would travel to Florida to have depositions, most of those cases would be because of whether it's a HOA lien, a mechanics lien, and, and sometimes they would supersede, meaning they would take, priority over all of the other liens.
Correct.
And so that title work is important. Otherwise, none of that would even show up, especially if it's like someone saying, oh, you don't need title insurance. You don't need that.
Which is crazy. Like you said, it's good to have car and health insurance. You never know what can happen.
You never know. Yeah, you never know.
You actually beat me to the punch. I was going to ask you, what got Tomi into this title work? What was the transition? What was the light bulb that said, well, let me go this route?
Yeah. Well, that's a good question. Yeah, like I said, I started out in mortgage servicing back after the fall of the economy. And then I literally, I got laid off a few times. I started working in law firms. My background is legal. So working with Jerry, she's an attorney and I'm a paralegal. So by nature, I understand the laws. When she says it, I can interpret it as well. And so we just kind of work hand in hand. But I worked in default servicing a couple of more times, and then I got laid off again. And then I started my own business, which was a notary business. And it was based off of all of the information and the things that I seen during the fall of the economy working for Bank of America. When I look at those loan documents and saw that it could have been somebody as simple as the notary that says, hey, this document is in English, but they only understand Spanish. And so it just became a passion for me. So I was working hand in hand with title companies, just kind of on the, on the other end. But I would only send notaries out that were competent of the process. What is your background?
Correct.
Even if you didn't work in mortgage servicing, even if you weren't a paralegal, I need to know that you know what's going on with real estate. And it just kind of made a full circle when I met Jerry in June of this year, because I've only been working with her for a little over 90 days, but it just worked. It just made sense. So, and that's how I'm here. But I worked in sales, worked in legal, worked in mortgage servicing, and we're making this thing work.
Isn't it interesting sometimes the tough moments? We say you was laid off a few times. Say, let me get my own business going, right? Let me get behind the steering wheel of my own car, because I can't depend on these others. But then a great opportunity would come along,
Absolutely.
And that's why it's always good just to keep on moving, honey.
Absolutely.
What kind of opportunity can be right in front of you.
Absolutely. And especially if it's like move in your passion. You know, I'm a very passionate person. I love to help people and finding that needle in the haystack. So with working with MPR Title, working in title, you know, I'm educating realtors, you know, and, you know, not only about title, but also about their businesses, you know, to make sure that they can grow and scale as well.
And I take it getting your real estate license is not on the table.
It is.
It is. I figured that.
It is. I'm actually studying now.
Studying now. Oh, congratulations.
I get a lot of phone calls, you know, basically mentorship calls.
Nice.
From realtors asking questions. And I'm like, you know, I'm not a real estate agent, right? It was like, yeah, but you know this stuff. I'm like, yeah, but you know, so I'm getting my real estate license just so I could, so I can join you guys.
Well, the great thing about, like you just said, is that you have the expertise, the knowledge. You know, you said you're a people's person. I think that is some of the key, well, if not all the key ingredients, you know, when you're taking on a potential client. And why not just add an extra plus to what you have going on, right? As long as it's allowed. In Texas, is it allowed? Because
it's allowed.
You can. Okay,
yeah.
It's allowed.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Yeah, because the title company is a neutral third party. So yeah, it has nothing to do with that portion of the business. Okay.
Tom, we ask guests. We you know, usually when they're in business, people always talk about the plus, right? I know it's missing Rocky. I know you just been there for 90 days, but maybe you probably heard or just like I said, heard somebody have a conversation on a rocky title situation, whereas though you all cleaned it up outside of the one you just mentioned, or if that is the one that was the most rockiest for you during your tenure there.
So I'm sorry. So you're asking like?
No, in other words, have you had a rocky deal or rocky transaction? Well, it didn't go quite well. Like you mentioned the 5 and y'all end up, went to other title companies, but y'all worked it out. Was there other ones that was, because again, people like to hear them stories and it may resonate with them.
There are a lot of them.
There's a lot of them. Gotcha. Just give me one good one.
But just let's see, one in particular. There's a family where the mother passed away. So husband and wife, mother passed away, and once the mother passed away, several months later, the husband passed away. They left one heir. And so it was like a bunch of family members trying to sell the property. It was like, well, there's one heir, which is an 18-year-old child which is considered an adult, that needs to sign the paperwork. They're trying to sell the property to an investor. And so they got all of these signatures, so before everybody was in, and then the father passed away. When that father passed away, now other people are drawn into the transaction. Okay. So it was like, well, if we can just get that 18-year-old to sign the paperwork, then we can move forward with the transaction. The 18-year-old is mentally challenged, unable to sign these documents. And so now it has to go to probate court. And so it's just really, really, really a really convoluted matter where initially where it started before the father had passed away, probably could have gotten that property sold a lot quicker. But it's been now, I believe Jerry said that they've been handling this file for maybe 6 months or so.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. But there's some really sticky issues, especially when people pass away without a will.
Correct.
And that really could have resolved the issue altogether.
And I know, like I said, you all focus on title work. Do you do anything outside of that? You do wills, estates, or you don't practice?
No. So Jerry, she's an attorney, but she does not practice law.
She's not practicing. Okay.
Yeah, her husband is also an attorney, but he's a criminal attorney.
Gotcha.
But no, we don't practice anything other than title.
Okay. And I just probably thought that possibly could go hand in hand, but it definitely does not. You said
it can go hand in hand, but it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. Got you.
Yeah, it's a lot of
work. Tomi, tell me, whereas though you, like I said, you've been in the company about 3 months now, but like you said, you do have a wealth of background that is a plus to the company. tell us a highlight where somebody, you really put a smile on somebody's face. It was like, oh, thank you. And I really appreciate that, because we experienced that on the real estate side, where the deal probably took forever to close or worked out some kind of inspection. Give us one of the moments.
They happen all the time.
Happen all the time. Just pick one of them good ones.
Because literally, because people don't know where I came from. So they, when I give them, background information on, default matters, letting them know about the current climate, the current market, it helps them to like, oh, so it's not me. I have this one agent that she has a seller that's been very, very, very complicated. And he's just so certain that he can get, $1 million for this property. And I've been really giving her, it's been a source of encouragement to her. Like, no, it's not you, this is your first listing, stay encouraged.
Correct.
Here are some tools that I've used in the past in my sales experience to help gauge your client, to get him to understand like, hey, we're not in the same market that we were this time last year. You might have gotten $1 million for it last year, but you're not going to get that this year. But to also for you to stay level-headed and and gain from these experiences. But and this is literally a young lady that I've been trying to like get to work with us since I started working at MPR Title. But now she's literally like, she calls me at least once a day just to check in because I've helped her. But I definitely just stay positive, especially during these times. I tell the agents that all the time. Sometimes they're like, well, I don't know. Maybe I want to give up. No, you don't want to give up, especially not now, because there's some things that we've never seen before, but it's definitely moving in a positive direction.
Are you looking to join a winning team? Join us as a broker and receive high-level training, mentorship, and an awesome commission structure. If you're interested, visit www.theheadleygroup.com or call us at 336-904-6212. We look forward to partnering with you.
That's right. Sure, you should have got your license beforehand, huh? Because everything you say, you're talking from an experienced broker. Tom, let me say this right here.
It all sells.
Exactly. Basically, it all sells. So yeah. So and that's why I was I had to ask you that question about the highlight, because again, we go through these everything is so much negative, right? But people want to hear them good stories, right? What was the benefit by utilizing MPR titles, and particularly the business development person here, right?
Right.
So let me ask you, did you go to HBCU?
I did not go to HBCU.
Okay,
So I grew up in a
seen the
small
swag
town.
you spread on the IG page. I thought you went maybe TSU out there, something like that. I thought you
I did not go to HBCU. Like, I didn't know anything about HBCU in my hometown. I wish I did.
I ask everybody this here, and again, this is slightly off topic, but like I said, we have fun on the show.
Yes.
I ask people, particularly, people of color, as they got just a little older, if you had to go back, you'd have went to HBCU?
Yes.
Definitely. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Like, I thought you were going to ask me what school.
I know. What school you to pick? You
HU.
Oh. No. Okay, got you. All HBCU is love, but so I went to the illustrious North Carolina A&T State University, Aggie Pride, right? I know we strong out there in Texas too.
I love it.
A lot of Aggies out there, but definitely, Howard is it's like our sister there. So, but yeah, awesome on that. So now that like I said, you ventured up, you did your business development. Is there something particular MPR Title's working on in terms of volunteering, things in the community, something that people can look out for?
That's what we're really working on. Like with me joining Gary, it was very strategic. It's funny. So I was working at another title company that was based out of Houston, and I was actually just praying, like somebody like really utilize me and value me, because I definitely want to go into the community. I want to make a difference.
Exactly.
Especially as being, a Black woman, in title. And when I met Jerry, literally we had spoke at the same event that she sponsored. And literally she scouted me out at the event. And so everything that she has envisioned, I had envisioned it, and we literally are like just marrying our ideas. And so the idea is for us really to just give back to our community, and really kind of encourage Black folks to get entitled. Get entitled. Okay. Like we are an underutilized business, not only in Texas, but throughout the country. We have folks that are moving to Texas, Black folks moving to Texas, and they're asking for Black title companies. And there's like less than a handful.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Less than a handful. So that's what we want to do. We just want to really encourage everybody, like, hey, look into this industry. It's very lucrative, you know, and it's very rewarding because, and especially if you love people, you're going to meet all walks of life. Now, everybody is not going to like you.
That's right.
But, you know, but you're still there to make a change. And so that's just our goal.
They would have to, if a person's getting in the title, first it has to be a state where it's title driven, correct?
Right.
And what are the steps on becoming a title company? I know,
yeah,
right?
You that can be a lawyer question.
I know. Oh, that's the attorney questions. I didn't know.
Yeah,
I thought so. You have to have an. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. So I was going to tell you like how Jerry got in.
Correct.
So
okay.
Jerry, her background, she's an attorney, and she worked for the City of Dallas Housing Authority as a Section 8 counselor. And so her passion was always helping people. And so she went to work for a title company and just realized, like, why am I working for somebody when I can do this myself? And so it just made sense. So she just, did all the proper paperwork. I mean, you have to have your insurances, it costs money to start it,
Correct, exactly.
First of all,
I'll figure that. Yeah.
You have to have, the financial resources to pay for it. But just look into it. Obviously, you guys are in an attorney state and have attorneys to look into, hey, if they thought about if they're an immigration attorney, because Jerry did immigration law.
Okay.
Prior to doing title work. So it's not that it's difficult to learn. Because I've only been doing this, a little under a year, and I've learned so much about title because the thing is, it's the same thing. It's repeated over and over again. I mean, just like as a realtor, it might be a different client, but once you've sold a house, you've sold a house, and
experience is there.
Exactly. The experience is there.
Wow. And that's what made me, when you said that, hey, people might want to get into themselves, made me kind of ask that question because a viewer may say, hey, I might want to go down that lane.
Right, absolutely.
Tomi, we ask every guest, because again, we know you are a busy lady. We thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
For 2 golden nuggets, right? You gave us some great insight. 2 golden nuggets, whether it be a book, quote, scripture, something that's personal to you, or something that's not, that gets you to keep going every day for you to create that new you. Absolutely.
So I'm on my second time of reading the book, and I also listened to it. It's called Black Faces in High Places by Randall D. Pickett and Jeffrey A. Robinson.
Okay.
It definitely has a lot of nuggets in there, especially like the higher we go as Black folks, the things that we're going to encounter, how we can, help our brothers and sisters, the rooms that we need to be in, how you need to conduct yourself. Like, it's a very, very, very valuable book. Like, I'm glad I ran across it. And I've even seen some of the realtors that I'm connected with on LinkedIn. They're actually reading the book as well.
Correct.
But this is my second time reading it, and it's definitely made a change, a huge impact on how I deal with folks on a day-to-day basis. And so the second one is like my favorite scripture, Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope for a future. So like, just stay positive. Know that whatever you're going through, it's going to be bright on the other side.
And that's just so impactful, because again, one thing about coming on, just being in this business, and the fact that you in sales, we go through a mental roller coaster at times, right?
Yeah.
Which is based off of people reactions to us, meaning our clients. They may fire you, they may be disappointed you didn't work something out, whether it's in terms, but you got to have that strength to continue to move on. And we appreciate that.
We're not for everybody, but you are for somebody.
I like that. Tomi, let me ask you a question. We ask every guest on the show, is there a question that I didn't ask you that you would love to answer?
Let's see that I would have liked to have answered. No, I think you answered. You covered it all. You did an amazing job.
Appreciate that, sister. That's what's up. That's what we like.
And you didn't have me break any laws by answering any legal questions.
No, exactly. We not gonna do that because you said it 2 or 3 times. Listen, I am not an attorney.
I'm not an attorney.
I get it. Listen, we don't want to get Jerry MPR title jammed up. We get that.
Because I'm in sales,
correct.
If anybody needs any help, I have sales mentors as well. If you don't have a sales mentor that's not even affiliated with real estate, find somebody that can help you. It all works hand in hand. Do your daily tasks, pick up the phone, be a hunter. Go out there and find the business. I was on a mentorship call yesterday, and he was like, if somebody's within 2 feet of you, ask them, do you need a realtor?
That's it.
You looking to sell your house? If they're going to be within you. So always be selling, always be close.
Let me tell you something. If you was in North Carolina, I would be hunting you down to say you need to join my company. I swear, because literally, I kid you, that's it. If anybody told you, I'm quite sure they have, but you're going to be a phenomenal agent. Because it's just the fact that the things that you're saying, and I don't know you, but the things that you are saying, that's what it takes to be that top, they say that 13%.
Yeah,
to make it happen. So you're going to do real well.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Tomi, we want to thank you, Tomi Moore. We want to thank you with MPR Title, based in what part of Texas again? I'm sorry.
Our headquarters is in Plano, Texas. We have an office in Arlington, Texas, and an office in Houston, Texas.
With the future goals to be national.
Future goals to be national.
Speaking in existence.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
That's right. We want to thank you all for being on the show. And again, now listen, you're an alumni to the show now, sister. So when we have our major call, ask you to come back on a few months from now, don't push us to the side.
I promise you, I won't.
Okay. So this is we got Tomi Moore. She's the VP Business Development with MPR Title. We will support her business. And again, if you are Texas, you need title work, you need to reach out to her, which we'll have all the information once we kind of get this episode ready to roll. But thank you, Tom, for being on the show.
No, and thank you, Mike, for the invitation. I really appreciate it. This was fun.
That's right. We'll see you all next time on the Headley Group Real Estate Show. Hey, gang, I hope you really enjoyed that show. Our guests provide us some great tips and insight, and please support them on all social media platforms. And while I'm saying that, support us on all social media platforms. And don't forget, watch the entire video on YouTube. We'll see you next time.